Yeah, you can start, Saliha.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Saliha Karadayi-Usta from Fenerbahce University. I will present my study entitled Neutrosophic Analytic Hierarchy Process for Evaluating a New Servicizing Business Model of Transportation. Here is my content. I will present the motivation behind my research, literature, methodology, analysis results, and I will conclude it. The new normal of the world has been shaped by the pandemics, so it has made compulsory to avoid public transportation and provide individual transportation in order to prevent the spread of this disease. Due to the high financial burden of purchasing a car, new business models have been developed in order to make possible of utilizing vehicles to meet the transportation needs in pay-per-use base. So the concept called servicizing business models or servicization is based on presenting a product as a service and selling the functionality of that product instead of product itself. So just a second. In order to meet the increasing demand for individual vehicle use, the existing car rental service providers have provided a new mobile application control driven business model, which makes the rental process easier by determining the location of the available vehicle via a mobile application, opening the vehicle without a key by just GPS signals through the application, and making the payment from the previously defined credit card according to the duration of driving. Servicizing business model.
Would you click slideshow at the bottom right so we can expand your slides? Sağda aşağıda eksik.
Hocam gitmiyor.
Okay.
Şöyle. Şöyle mi?
Yeah.
Gitmiyor. Onu çekemedim aşağı. Ha, şöyle yapayım mı?
Okay. No problem. No problem.
It's okay. Ha, okay. Where was I? Servicizing business models have been drawn attention with its sustainable and environmental side, owing to the durability and reliability requirement of these repeatedly in use products, and they have been defined as an opportunity to research in the literature. Besides, the companies have made serious investments for this business model recently. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a serious decrease in individual purchasing power, and the companies have developed a new servicization versions in order to minimize the face-to-face communication and contracting process with an easier way of payment via mobile applications. So this change in the way of business has motivated this research to analyze the customer perception and attitude towards different individual transportation options. Hence, this study aims to develop a decision model for evaluating the customer's decisions on purchasing or renting through an agency, or a new mobile application controlled way of renting alternatives of driving, in order to determine which criterion is more important in decision-making process and to identify the weights of these criteria. Since the decision criteria often vague, uncertain, indeterminate, or inconsistent, the data were collected as Neutrosophic data sets from the real customers having experienced in both purchasing, renting through an agency, and renting through the new mobile application alternatives were analyzed with Neutrosophic AHP approach. The current servicization literature focuses on the intentions of the organizations towards servicizing or product as a service, device as a service concept, and the potential of Industry 4.0 adoption in servicizing. There are successful examples in servicization, such as Xerox printing services, car rental, fleet solutions, etc. And the servicization studies implementing AHP discuss construction servicization, design requirements of plumbing services, prioritization of product services models, model elements at aerospace industry, and cloud manufacturing. Moreover, there are Neutrosophic AHP papers addressing the system selection, AHP SWOT analysis for strategic planning and decision making, and there are AHP TOPSIS frameworks, AHP and data development analysis methodologies, and performance analysis in the literature. However, the new mobile application-driven pay-as-you-go model of servicization research is missing in the literature currently. Besides, there are limited number of AHP studies applying the Neutrosophic sets. Therefore, the priorities of the customers having experiences in both purchasing and renting cars will be examined in this study. The goal, criteria, and alternatives are presented in this figure. Our goal is basically transportation via car, and there are criteria as cost, parking, transactions, and risks. Cost criteria has subcriterions as possession cost, which means purchasing or renting payments. There is also maintenance, repair cost, and tax, insurance subcriteria. In parking criteria, this is important for the users to access the car. This is important to find the car where they left. Leaving the car wherever you want is another subcriteria. In the transaction part, transactions for receiving the car from the service provider and for leaving it to service provider. And finally, the risks include the high possibility of car breakdown due to the repeated and extreme use, and maybe the most important one is the hygiene problem in this era. In order to obtain the customer judgments, user survey has been used, and Neutrosophic sets have been used to gather the preferences. The experts are selected from the car rental service provider X. I can say the company name. They gave me the permission, TikTok. I have reached TikTok's real users who had comments about mobile application in their websites. 36 users were identified as a candidate experts, and just 3 of them accepted to state their opinions. These are the preliminaries of this Neutrosophic sets. Basically, we can define truth, indeterminacy, and falsity membership functions in between 0 and 3. These are the basic operations in for example, summation, multiplication, etc. I have a few minutes, so I will skip that part. These are the other preliminaries, and I will. The truth membership, TA, stands for the possibility in which the statement is true, while the indeterminacy membership is the degree in which one is not sure, and the false membership means that the statement is false. All of the above definitions will be applied in the proposed Neutrosophic AHP methodology in the following sections. This is my this is the procedure in gathering the evaluations. There are different proposed scales for Neutrosophic linguistic variables. However, there is also a fair criticism for this scales due to the defined structure of them. For example, the aforementioned Radwan scale defines extremely highly preferred as 0.9, 0.1, 0.1. The truth membership can be taught as the reverse of positive membership. This is acceptable by definition. But since the indeterminacy means the degree in which one is not sure, we cannot define this indeterminacy proportional to the truth membership value with a scale. Participants should express the degree in which one is not sure. Therefore, this study gathers the truth and indeterminacy values separately from the participants instead of using these defined tables in order to deal with this criticism. This is the procedure in aggregating the evaluations. In order to aggregate the individual Neutrosophic evaluations into group evaluations, the captured expert opinions have been processed with a proposed formula of Kahraman et al. This is the definition 6. There are Neutrosophic AHP papers using the Neutrosophic weighted arithmetic average aggregation operator. However, since the average operator is problematic in terms of finding the reciprocals, this study prefers to adopt a geometric mean based formulation in aggregating the expert opinions. This is the steps of the methodology. Step 1 is define the problem, criteria, and alternatives with a structure hierarchy. Step 2, gathering the expert evaluations by taking truth and indeterminacy membership values separately via a survey in order to obtain pairwise comparisons. Step 3, checking the consistency of pairwise matrices by eigenvector solution. Fourth one is aggregating the individual evaluations. Fifth one is obtaining the weights of each criteria and repeating these steps for alternatives pairwise comparisons. Last step is the ranking the alternatives with respect to the calculated weights. This is the individual evaluations of these users with respect to goal. And these steps reach us to the third step. The consistency was checked with the score function definition for each participant evaluations via eigenvector solution procedure. The score function was applied to defacify the evaluations into crisp values. The sum of each column was taken next. You all know the eigenvector solution. So the table 2 states the score function values, normalization in weights and principal eigenvector values in sum. This is the table 2. The largest eigenvector.
We should finish in a couple of minutes to time.
Okay. Okay, I will be quick. Accordingly, while the evaluations of export 1 and 3 within the acceptable inconsistent limits, the evaluations of expert 2 cannot be taken into consideration due to the consistency ratio. This is the aggregation part. I will be in the results. According to the analysis results, renting through an agency was the most preferred alternative in terms of the cost criterion. Secondly, the new system and then the purchasing option was preferred by the weight values. When the parking criterion was considered, the ranking was purchasing, renting through an agency, and new system, respectively. Similarly, in case of we had a focus on transactions, the same ranking was valid. However, the participants addressed that the new system as the most risky alternative, next renting through an agency, and the purchasing option comes respectively. The sub-criteria analysis revealed that there was a tax, maintenance, possession cost sequence with respect to cost criterion. Moreover, hygiene problem sub-criterion had a greater importance than the high possibility of a car breakdown due to the repeated and extreme use in terms of risk criterion. Besides, the accessing the car, finding it where you left sub-criterion, and leaving the car whenever you want sub-criteria has close weights. When the criteria weights and alternatives were combined, this analysis resulted that the effect of alternatives on the goal was identified with the weights as renting to an agency, person option, and the new system. This study introduced a new way of servicizing business model as a contribution to the literature with real customer preferences shaping the decision-making process. The analysis results addressed the weights of criteria and alternative ranking by, again, the real user preferences. As a theoretical implication, this study tries to handle the criticism of previously defined linguistic variable tables by a different way of data gathering. In addition, the study adapts the score functions to neutrosophic the fuzzy sets in analysis procedure as a new approach. The practical implications of the paper provide a real-world customer preference point of view for the industry representatives. Since the new normal of the world requires a new way of business models, this analysis addresses new initiatives to overcome the burden of this hard time. One can infer from these results that the companies can introduce new way of servicization by taking the defined significant criteria into consideration. Okay, this is it. Thank you for listening.
Sorry, I was just talking in unmute form. Thank you for your presentation. Actually, you left us just 1 minute, but maybe we can take some questions. At the chat, I think there's a question earlier. I think that the concept of consistency in presence of ambiguous information from decision making is really a fuzzy concept. I think this is a comment. Any questions?
Maybe she can explain what is this neutrosophic sets. Could you explain us for some of us? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I will.
But time will be up. I think it is 11:55.
Yeah,
quite probably
yes.
it will be cut. Yeah.
This is extent of intuitionistic fuzzy set, which has the truth and indeterminacy membership values separately. And the difference is these values can take 0 to 3 values. This is just the difference of this fuzzy set.
Thank you.